are back with the Monday edition of the workshops for the Weiner Wellness Center, World of Wellness, Winter Wonderland. We had a couple hiccups this morning, but that happens in the world of live broadcast, right? And that's who we are today. We're live. And of course, all of our video presentations will be cataloged on the World of Wellness, Weiner Wellness Center, Facebook, YouTube. We're there all over the place. So you'll be able to get them all. But what happened today, we had a little hiccup. We have physicians that are busy, and they're taking time out of their day to do some workshops for us. And sometimes that gets interrupted by patient care. So that happens. So I'm going to fill in today for our 11 o'clock slot. And that's for, let's see, that's for Dr. Jacqueline, scratched out, Shedden, right? Shedden. She'll be here Thursday. We're going to reschedule her for Thursday at 11. But today, I'm going to take you through something that I thought was very relevant. This whole month, our focus, folks, is stress, sleep, anxiety, all of these things, right? Because the holidays, they're a stressful time. There's no way around it. Yeah, we try to keep it as happy and as joyous as we can, right? But holidays and gifts and time off and meals and family in general, all those things are going to equate to a little extra and sometimes a lot extra stress in your life. So what do you do about it? What do you do about it? Well, we approach stress from a lot of different angles, and number one, you have to identify the causes of stress. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But you have to approach it from a multi-angled perspective because there's multiple causes and they're all different. But for today's little workshop, what I want to do is focus on what I think is the single most important remedy for stress. And it's not necessarily a nutrient. It's kind of a combination of what nutrients will improve a specific part of your life. What is that? Sleep. Sleep is that important. And I talk to people all the time that have issues with sleep. People in here. I just talked to Jeff Nisnik. He said he was up. He had a rough night's sleeping, and he knows what to do about these things. But sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it's stress-induced, mental stress. Sometimes it's physical stress-induced. Sometimes it's chemical stress-induced. And for a lot of you out there, it's invisible stress-induced. Okay, we're going to go over all of these different types and causes of stress. So as far as I'm concerned, sleep is the cause of all your stress. And if it isn't the ultimate cause, it's a really good place to start. So what are the adverse effects of sleep deprivation? Now, if I was doing this live with you in the audience, I'd probably have a whiteboard and we'd probably start listing them, right? Old school stuff. But before we can fix sleep, we got to know what's causing it. And we're going to tell you how to fix those things and also what to avoid too, okay? Because a lot of times, people just reach for that pill, and that's not what you want to do. So, hey, Phil, do you look at my fly-in effects here on my PowerPoint?
I actually love your designs. This is very well done.
Well, thank you. And it's just basic, right? No thrills, no frills, just right up there in black and white in my fly-in. I love the fly-in thing on bullet points. I love that because I don't like people reading ahead on my presentation. So now I can control it. So sleep deprivation, inability to heal acutely and at the cellular level. That is an adverse effect of sleep deprivation. That's going to cause you not to be able to heal as effectively as your body can and should be able to do. Okay, without sleep, you don't heal. It's that simple. Why? Because you cannot make adequate amounts, if any, growth hormone with inadequate sleep. Now, to me, I've said this for many, many years. This should be renamed from HGH to HRH, human repair hormone, because that's really what growth hormone does. It increases repair, it aids in healing of tissues at the cellular level. So if you go to the whole athletic thing, okay, the whole athletic thing, and athletes taking HGH, that's because it helps them to heal faster. So in my eyes, it should be renamed human repair hormone. In any event, unless you are in a regular REM sleep, we're going to talk about that a little bit more detail too. You're not repairing. You're not manufacturing adequate amounts of growth hormone, and you're not repairing your body. That's a serious adverse effect, especially if it's something acute, if it's something, a trauma that requires really extreme healing on the body's part. Or it could be as simple as warding off that, monster of premature aging, because when cells can't heal, they die prematurely. That's called apoptosis, or even worse, they go into senescence. Senescence is a mutated cell that's not dead, but susceptible to every type of invasion out there. I gotta have some of my greens. Hold on a second. Drink your greens every day. Okay, what else? Loss of cognitive function, short term and long term, and what's that going to result in? Look, neurological disorders have been on the rise in this country for a long, long time. Starts with dementia, goes to Alzheimer's. It could be full-blown Parkinson's. There's a lot of different variations of these neurological disorders. But cognitive function begins with sleep deprivation. Short term, you have that short term memory loss. You walk into a room, you don't know why. Wonder how many hours of sleep you've been getting at night. And I've been saying for a long time the ideal time is 6 to 8 hours. But that's because you don't get a full REM sleep in that amount of time. You may get 3 or 4 hours of good REM sleep, but it takes a full night to accomplish that most of the time. And we're going to see some results of lack of sleep here in a minute. Okay, cognitive function, though, I can't tell you how many people come into the wellness center, and I just need some help with memory. I'm losing short-term memory. Where did I put my keys? That kind of thing. We've all experienced it, right? But then it results in memory loss because without adequate sleep, you don't turn on that function in your brain that ignites memory. Without adequate sleep, the ability to learn and retain new information is lost. Now, you might have, short-term memorization still available to you. That's why, pulling all-nighters for college kids to learn something, or high school kids to learn something, study for an exam, doesn't always work. Yeah, you might remember it the next morning. Okay, but then it fades. Why does it fade? Because that switch in your brain that's required to turn on to retain new information, new knowledge, is lost with inadequate sleep. Young kids today, they're getting to school earlier and earlier and earlier, picking up these young children at 7 o'clock in the morning and sometimes earlier. So what time are they getting up? What time are they going to bed? Are they getting adequate sleep? No, they're not. And now it's starting at a very young age. And I think that whole system is out of whack. That's another topic for another day. We just talked about this, the ability to create new learning. See, one of the bad points of the fly-in, Phil, is that sometimes I go ahead of the bullet point. Yeah. But memory loss and the inability to retain new knowledge are directly related to each other. So they're pretty much one and the same. Same part of the brain is ignited for that. And here we go, weight gain. Oh, how many times have we heard, the people that just can't, they're doing all the right things right and can't lose that weight. Except the one thing they're not doing right is getting into that REM sleep. Now let's go back a couple bullet points. What's going to help with weight loss? Production of hormones, specifically growth hormone, because that ignites the production of testosterone. So weight gain is aided by the weight loss, is aided by the production of growth hormone, which is only achieved during REM sleep. So you see the connections here? See how it all starts to tie together? And what happens when you get a little unexpected weight gain? Does it cause a little stress? Absolutely. Right? See all these factors, all these stress factors coming in at you? Stress comes from everywhere. Let's go over them for a second. Stress, mental, emotional. Okay, we're all experiencing that. Right now, for the last 2 years, we've experienced a ton of emotional and mental stress. It's still stress. Physical stress comes in different types. Any injury is a physical stress. Any surgery is a physical stress. Okay? Excessive exercise causes physical stress to your body. Anytime you tear a muscle, whether it's in trying to build it with resistance training or an injury, that's stress to the body. I got news for you. Even a needle injected into your arm is causing stress. A needle is surgery, folks. Make no mistake. Anytime you penetrate the skin with an object like a needle or a scalpel, it's stress on the body. Earlier today, we were talking about in the presentation about the invisible stress. And maybe that's one that's keeping more people up than any of them. That's electromagnetic field radiation. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But basically, overall fatigue, how many times have we heard that? Just exhausted. Many times it's not even physically, it's mentally. This is an adverse reaction of inadequate sleep. So now you're starting to see why we think sleep is at the top of the list when it comes to alleviating stress in your life. Well, you can go take a sleeping pill. Yeah, a lot of people do. Big sellers, right? Ambien's a big seller. You can get them over the counter. You can get them by prescription. But sleeping pills are not the answer. Why? There's a big reason right there. They're synthetic. They're artificial. They're drugs. What happens when you come to use a drug more than, for an acute situation? Well, it's a good time to go over the basic difference between allopathic approach to health and functional medicine approach to health. The allopathic approach is, let me give you a pill. You can't sleep? Here's a sleeping pill. Oh, you can't lose weight? Here's an antidepressant. Oh, you're in pain? Well, we can't find the cause of it, but here's an antidepressant, and here's some pain pills to go along with it. Have you heard of the opioid epidemic that we have? Yeah. Do you know that there are physicians out there that will swear that the new epidemic coming is going to blow the opioid epidemic right out of the water, and that's the benzos and the antidepressants. The use is just out of control. Many times it's used most of the time for the wrong reasons, but they're all synthetic. So are sleeping pills. Now, a sleeping pill is forced sedation, folks. Forced sedation. And I got news for you. That's not REM sleep. It's not a restful sleep. A forced sedation you will still have all the adverse effects of no sleep. Now let's think about that a second. With inadequate sleep, you have no hormone production, no healing production, right? You have memory loss, no retention. You have fatigue. But with forced sedation from a chemical, you get the exact same adverse effects. You will make no growth hormone because you're not in a REM sleep. It's an artificial sleep. It's a sedation. It's like getting knocked out before a surgery. It's the same thing. And it's not restful, and it's not natural, and the body does not repair during forced sedation. And of course, with all drugs, the more you use them, the more you come to depend on them. Not just illegal drugs, all drugs. Why? Because the drug is synthetic. It's taking the place of a natural body function. In this case, sleep is the natural body function. And we're not getting natural sleep, we're getting forced sedation. And then you get the fatigue grows, you become more and more tired, and you come to rely on the sleeping pill. And over time, you shut down functions with drugs that never come back. And then you come to rely on that drug. I hear a line from a movie every time I say that. You have a little need, you stimulate that need, and over time, they come to depend on it. That's synthetic drug therapy, and sleep is one of the biggest culprits. Okay, let's go over a few more little clinical pearls that I compiled for you on this sleep presentation. I love clinical pearls because you're not going to find them anywhere else. And these are things that we dig up for you. This is a great book. I encourage you to get this book by Dr. Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep, The New Science of Sleep and Dreams. And it's one of the most, I'd say, thorough examinations of sleep that I've ever seen. He really compiles a lot of information, a lot of data, in all different aspects of life that you never would have learned about without somebody doing the research. So I would suggest you get this book. This is a great little clinical pearl for you, and it'll enlighten you on the both adverse effects and the benefits of proper sleep. He calls sleep our life support system. Less sleep equals less life. Now, what do we talk about all the time, right? The premature aging aspect, cutting your life off before it's time. Well, you've seen science fiction, right? You've seen all the space shows where they're out there and they have their life support systems in the spaceships, right? We have life support systems in hospitals too, right? Keep people alive. Well, your built-in internal life support system is sleep. If that's not important, okay, then we just don't know where what are we addressing? Are we doing everything artificial? Less sleep equals less life. Look at this one. Now, this is one that Dr. Walker compiled from his research. Surgeons that get 6 hours or less of sleep result in a whopping 170% increase in surgical errors. 170% increase. Do you think surgeons are getting adequate sleep? I don't know. I think if I was scheduled for a surgery, I'd start talking to my surgeon about his sleep habits. In many circles, medical errors combined from drugs to surgeries to everything in between are considered the number one actual overall cause of death in this country. Yeah, the statistics say it's still heart disease and then cancer, And number three was always properly prescribed medications at the hospital level. Wow, properly prescribed, not misuse, not illegal, properly prescribed medications were the number three cause of death in this country. But I know, like I said, a lot of physicians in the functional medicine industry think that if you add in surgical errors, if you add in misdiagnosis, if you add in multiple drugs, Okay, multiple, because the study's really done on one, but nobody's doing them on the compounded effect of all these drugs. And of course, many of them are sleeping aids. But this is what will happen to a surgeon if he gets less than 6 hours sleep. Uh-oh, guys, there's one for you. Men who sleep 5 hours or less make less testosterone, age faster, and will have smaller testicles. Like that, Phil? Men who sleep 5 hours or less, just for the record, routinely I get 7. But guys, look, this is affecting your life in more ways than you can imagine. Get your sleep, get your REM sleep. Okay, well, it's going to affect every part of your performance if you don't. You know, I talked about this a little bit earlier. All-nighters are a bad idea. Bad idea. Because, yeah, you might be able to memorize it for the test, but your ability to absorb and retain that information is shot. It's gone. I mean, think about it. How many tests have you taken where you memorized enough, you got the test done, and then a little while later, you had to take that test again? No way. The retention's just not there. Okay? It's good clinical pearls on sleep. So what are the causes of sleep deprivation? We started to touch on this. Let's really list them out here for you. Disruption of the body's internal clock, which is a melatonin deficiency. What's the cause of a melatonin deficiency? Well, you know what destroys melatonin that your body makes? You know, this is a hormone your body makes. You know what destroys it more than anything else? Blue light. Blue light. And guess where blue light comes from, folks? Every flat screen device in your possession. Every one. From the littlest to the laptops, to the iPads and tablets, to the big screen TVs. Bill, you're underneath that blue light over there. You know what else gives off blue light? Fluorescent lights. Yeah, fluorescent lights are killers. You know, because we don't realize it, but it's over us all day in some cases in an office, right? Or somewhere in a school. But they're all blue light emitters, and blue light destroys melatonin, which is going to prevent you from falling asleep. Okay? Eating and drinking habits. If you eat less than 2 hours before bed, then you're going to disrupt your sleep. Why? Because the digestive process is working overtime. And that's a process that's going to interrupt you getting into a REM sleep. Alcohol is another sedative. Okay? So that's artificial. You know, if you have that, it's going to knock you out, maybe. Not going to put you into a REM sleep because it's a sedative. If you take nothing else away from this, remember, sedatives do not put you into a REM sleep. Okay? So eating habits, drinking habits, late at night, you got to give yourself at least 2, some say 3 hours after your last meal to get into a good, proper REM sleep. Obviously, nutrient deficiencies are going to be at the core. Now, we're going to go over some specific nutrient deficiencies, but one of the primary nutrient deficiencies that's causing sleep deprivation are B vitamins. B vitamins, why? Well, because your body's first line defense against stress of any kind is your B vitamin stores. Your B vitamin. Now, here's the thing. B vitamins are water soluble. So it's hard to have them accumulate in the body. So there's something that needs to be replenished on a daily basis. Number one, of course, melatonin. Melatonin. Now, you know, your body makes it in response to light and darkness. So in a perfect world, when it gets dark at night, we would go to sleep. When the sun comes up in the morning, we would wake up. That's in a perfect world. Doesn't happen that way, does it? No. But that internal clock gets disrupted, and when that happens, there's no melatonin production. And then we're going to address this too. But the racing mind, there's usually two aspects of sleep that we always talk about and separate, and that is falling asleep and staying asleep. Two different things, two different causes of deprivation, two different nutrient deficiencies, two different repair mechanisms. Some people suffer from both. They have a real problem with sleep. Some people, it's one or the other. I can fall asleep, I can't stay asleep. That's usually the result of the racing mind. The mind that's not shutting off. You're thinking, got things in your life just bombarding. It's like you're that guy. It's like you're like your Bill from Night Shift. Did you ever see that, Phil? You didn't see Night Shift? Great movie. Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton. And Bill and that's Michael Keaton's role, and he's the idea guy. And he says, I have all these ideas. They just keep coming into my head. I can't shut them off. Well, if you can't stay asleep, you're the idea man or the idea woman. You can't stay asleep because your mind won't shut down. That's the racing mind. We can help you with that too. Sleep time to the rescue. Sleep time is one of our most incredible formulas here at the Weiner Wellness Center. It's made, of course, by Nutritional Frontiers. The reason it's so effective, folks, is that it addresses all of these aspects. First of all, it supplies an adequate amount of melatonin. Okay, because for most people, even if you think you don't have a problem falling asleep, if you're watching your tablet in bed or your laptop or your flat screen TV is in your bedroom, you're getting blue light. You're destroying melatonin. So we need to supply melatonin just about for everybody at this case. Okay. So number one, you get 5 milligrams of melatonin in 2 capsules of sleep time. Now, a lot of people will say, well, gee, sometimes 1 to 3 milligrams is all I need. Well, yeah, if it's sublingual, but it's in a capsule. So we put in a little extra, make sure you get it. Melatonin is the nutrient that helps you fall asleep. Okay? The one that tells you it's nighttime, it's the internal clock. Who suffers from melatonin deficiency that's not blue light related? Anybody working shifts. If you're working a shift where you go from daylight to nighttime to daylight to nighttime, your melatonin production is shot. You should be taking sleep time on a regular basis. If you do work shifts, or if you work one shift, I know, for example, my son-in-law works a night shift, 9:30 at night till 6:30 in the morning. On his days off, he keeps the same schedule. And that's exactly what you need to do, or you just throw your body into complete chemical haywire. You can't if you're working a night shift, the days off, you have to keep that same schedule so that your body gets used to the fall asleep and the wake up pattern. Very important. But the people that swing shift, yeah, their melatonin is shot, absolutely shot. We added in 5-HTP. 5-HTP, hydroxytryptophan. This is the natural component. And the natural source for hydroxytryptophan is, of course, the one people know more about than any is turkey. There's a lot of it in turkey, which is why after a big Thanksgiving meal, those people get pretty sleepy. Okay. But it's another natural nutrient to work on the body's ability to produce melatonin and to have a natural sedation. And then, as I said earlier, the biggest nutrient deficiencies related to this are B vitamins. So we put 2 of the most important in sleep time, B6 and pantothenic acid. So, we didn't assume that people were taking their B vitamins. We didn't assume they were taking Super B Complete or a really good multi like Frontier Multi or Women's Complete. We can't make that assumption. So we're going to make sure that we include, and this is probably the game plan of most of the condition-specific formulations that are made by Nutritional Frontiers and that we have here at the Weiner Wellness Center. Complete formulations. That's what we started talking about this morning on the morning kickoff. And then gamma aminobutyric acid, or GABA. This is a nutrient that supports the production of neurotransmitters in the body. Primarily the feel-good neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, relaxation neurotransmitters. But the difference is these are not drugs. We're not supplying a feel-good drug. We're supporting the body's ability to produce the necessary neurotransmitters to get that effect. This is, again, and I keep pounding this home, the difference between allopathic and functional medicine. Allopathic takes the place of a body function. Functional medicine or functional nutrition supports the natural functionality so the body works at a higher, perfect level. Homeostasis, the level we're supposed to be at. That's GABA. And then for good measure, we added in L-theanine. L-theanine, amino acid nutrient that is used in many circles by itself as a natural relaxing nutrient. So again, we approach with sleep time both aspects of sleep deprivation, helping you fall asleep with melatonin and 5-HTP, and then calming the racing mind with GABA, with L-theanine, making sure that the body produces the neurotransmitters it needs for relaxation to calm the racing mind, and then you stay asleep. Now, we have a companion formula to sleep time, and that's called Calm Day. You know what? It's the exact same base formula except for the melatonin and 5-HTP. So if you take out the melatonin and the 5-HTP that help you fall asleep, we're still going to help calm that racing mind during the day, and we do that with Calm Day. And again, support the body's natural function. Don't take an antidepressant. Yes, that's right. Don't. I'm telling you, don't. I'm not telling you to get off them if you're on them, but I would suggest that you do not start down that path. If you are on them, you need to work with your physician to safely get off of them. But we can help you down here at the Wellness Center with that as well. So sleep, folks, the cause of all your stress. I really think that it's the number one cause, and that's sleep deprivation. Once we can help that, then many other things will start to take place. You know, the amount of sleep you get will help you produce more growth hormone, help you heal, make you feel stronger, help you build better. If you're working out, you're going to build muscle better because you're giving the body a chance to repair and rebuild. HGH should be HRH, human repair hormone. We can help with the production of it simply by increasing the amount of REM sleep that you get. That's REM, REM sleep. Sleep is the key. So, folks, that's it. A nice little overview of sleep for you with some great bullet points that I hope you can take home and use. And again, sleep time on sale here at the Weiner Wellness Center at the World of Wellness all this week, 30% off. Stock up for you and the rest of the family. One more side note, and we had Dr. Mack on here on Saturday. He's a pharmacist and a functional medicine specialist down in Florida and Pompano Beach, Florida. And he has a great testimonial for sleep time for his son was 5 or 6 at the time. And just going through a lot of different stress, you know, school, no school, all these things, shutdowns. And he wanted to give him sleep time. And of course, he knew it was safe. But of course, his 5 or 6-year-old couldn't swallow a capsule. So he opened the capsule, put it in some juice, mixed it up, took the plastic syringes that he has at the pharmacy and just squirted it in, you know, filled the syringe and squirted it in his boy's mouth. And it just calmed him down and gave him a great restful sleep. How about that? Sleep time, safe for children. Yes, it is. Unlike the alternatives, the drugs. They're the alternatives. We're not the alternative. We're the baseline. So Sleep Time's available at 30% off. We have 2 sizes of it here. We've got a lot of samples of it here too. If you come down to the Wellness Week, I'm sure you'll walk out with a sample of Sleep Time. And you know what? It's like one of those very unique nutritional supplements that works immediately. Doesn't really need to build up that much in the body. In a couple of days, some people say the same day. One more side note. Phil, I have time for one more? Okay, one more side note, and that is we found a positive side effect for Sleep Time. And if you've ever heard or known anybody or had to sleep with somebody who had night terrors, well, we have a remedy for that, and that is Sleep Time. And here's how it happened. A friend of mine was going on a cruise, and she said, I don't know if I'll be able to sleep on this boat. I said, yeah, take the Sleep Time with you. Okay. So her partner in the cabin suffered from night terrors, which she didn't know. And so this, that was keeping her up because of the night terrors. Well, she gave her companion Sleep Time that I had given her. The next night, no night terrors. Dr. Tracy Straub has also used it with one of her boys who was suffering from night terrors, and it had the same result. It helps, really helps. And if you know anybody, if you have kids with night terrors, then we have a solution. So that's it, folks. Sleep Time, everything down here. Calm Day, the companion products here at the Wellness Center. Come on down. We'd be happy to see you. We'll send you home with some samples. So Jamie and I will be up next with our roundtable discussion. We'll see you in a few.